So before we get into Airbnb specific topics and um, material, I kind of wanted to touch on mindset and goals. Uh, this is more so just in general for life. It's important to always try to improve yourself and figure out what you want out of life and to kind of change your mindset and perspective to kind of think bigger, um, which is something I constantly need to remind myself of as well. So before you get started, I want you guys to kind of think about what is it that you want out of this course and like what's the purpose, what's the goal of it, right? Um, so I have some friends who maybe they like their job, they like what they're doing, they like their work, they're making good money, and they just want some extra side income. Sure, okay, and maybe they'll be happy with just getting a few units, getting that additional income on the side on top of what they're doing already, their 9 to 5 or whatever work they're doing. I have other friends that ask me all the time, like they come and talk to me and they're like, they hate their job, they're miserable, they feel burnt out, they're working crazy hours, 50, 60, 70 hours. Um, and maybe they're not making much money, right? Maybe they're working a lot and they're not making much money, or they are working a lot and they are making a lot of money, but they just have no time for anything else. So if you're working a lot and you're not making much money, you definitely need to change something. Um, so in a case like that, I would say like, hey, really start focusing on Airbnb and try to get enough units where it can replace your income. For me, my goal when I started was I wanted something that would cash flow a lot every month to be my active income because I didn't have a job. I was um I was a licensed real estate agent. I was selling things online, and it was enough to like get me by and pay the bills or whatever. But it wasn't anything crazy where I had a lot of income coming in every month. So that was my goal when I started, was to have a lot of active income and where I don't have to work a job, right? And now, 2 years later, I have 20 plus units. Um, I don't have a job. I don't have a 9 to 5. I have a lot of time and freedom and flexibility, and I think that is one of the beautiful things about this business. I have a lot of time on my hands to focus on what I want to do. My schedule is very flexible. I mean, there's always things that need to be done, but I'm not in the day to day running the business and managing the business and doing, really um, minor, tiny things like replying guest messages and running the day to day operations. I now have a team of three VAs. VA stands for virtual assistants, and they pretty much run the whole day to day for me, and I can spend my time on more important things. I actually spend a lot of my time driving my mom and my grandma around sometimes. So I think that's like a beautiful thing, right? Like, what's the point of you making so much money if you never have time to spend it with your family members, right? And it's like, now I'm making money, but I still have time to go um drive my mom around if she needs, instead of having her take the bus or the subway, or struggling finding parking, or having her struggle with taking care of my 90-year-old grandma. I'm able to you know help her out and help them out and spend time with them and take them around when they need. um so I feel like that's like a true um feeling of freedom. um so before we finish off this topic, so my best performing Airbnb is a house I have, and you can see in 2024 it made in revenue $121,000, almost $122,000. um so after you do the cost and subtract the cost and all the expenses from my best performing Airbnb, the one out of the 20 plus, I am making about close to 50,000, 40 to $50,000. And when I thought about that, I'm like, that's kind of crazy to me. Off of one property, I'm able to make what a lot of people make in a year. Um, so this is definitely life changing stuff. Whether you want to have some side income or you want to do this full time, um, even just one property is life changing. Um, you know, like I said, I think the average salary in America is like 40,000. So actually, this is more than the average salary in America for some people. So definitely think about what you want out of this and out of life. Um, I've been an entrepreneur and like a small business owner most of my life. Um, it's definitely a rough journey. In the beginning, it's very hard. You're broke most of the time until you kind of figure out how to get things running smoothly, and a lot of trials and tribulations for sure. Um, but I think in the last few years, I've been very lucky as well. I've been able to surround myself with a lot of successful people. And once you're around other entrepreneurs and business owners and people who are doing better than you, it kind of really opens up your mind. One of my business partners, um, I mean, we're kind of like business partners. We everything we do is separate, but we just call each other business partners. But we're more just like best friends. We help each other out with everything. Um, and he told me his previous business. He used to do social media marketing, and he was making like $30,000 a month. And that's just very eye opening. And if you think about it, that's a lot of money, $30,000 a month. Um, but that's not even he's not even making $1 million a year. So it's kind of like what's possible out there. There's all these people making millions and millions of dollars a year, and if you're able to make 20 30 thousand dollars a month, would that be life changing for you? Um, and he actually told me that he was so burnt out working like 16 18 hours a day. All he did was eat, sleep, and work. And then that's why he got out of that business and got into the Airbnb business. So yeah, okay, that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about. Just some mindset stuff and changing your perspective, thinking bigger. Think about all the things that are possible out there, because I know for a lot of people, including myself, like before, when I was just exchanging my time for money, um, that's kind of where your mindset is at, right? Like, hey, we're working 40 hours a week. If I'm making 20 30 dollars an hour, how much can I make? If I ask for a raise, how much can I make? And it's even if you ask for a raise, your boss is not going to double or triple your salary, right? Like, what's the average raises every year? If even you get a raise, like 15% or something. So it's really about talking to people, and talking to people who's doing it, talking to people who's um, you know able to live that kind of life that you can't really imagine, and seeing it for yourself. And once you're around these kind of people, you see what's possible. So yeah, okay, I'm gonna end that here. Think about your goals and change your mindset. I think most people need to change their mindset, including myself. Sometimes I'm still realizing I'm thinking too small. So, all right, we're gonna see you guys in the next video.